y'all got up, you got dressed this morning, and you're here. So we're going to get a sermon here. We have our new pastor here that Kevin will introduce in a minute, and then she will be able to do the communion for us. But about 5 minutes before, I saw that no one was here, so I kind of wrote a few things down, kind of tied into what the gospel verse was about this morning. I know our theme today is hope, so I was hoping somebody would show up, but it's okay. It's kind of about, humbling yourselves. And, I was thinking about that, and I came across a few thoughts. Like, number one, at a very, very young age, we're always taught to be competitive, to be first, to get what you need to get, to be strong. And that is kind of ingrained from us from the very beginning. Now, a lot of us are born with a competitive spirit more than others. And you can certainly see that in school and sports. But even today, there is such a demand on children to do so much more than it was 30 or 40 years ago, or even 10 years ago. If you go to an open house for one of your kids or grandkids, you know what I'm talking about, because you go to these different classes, you see what they're studying, and you're like, man, I have no idea what all this stuff is. And they do. So even at a very early age, you're kind of taught to put yourself first in a way, to be better than the others, to do more than the others. And that's not what Jesus was talking about in the gospel. Another thing, as you get older in your jobs, it's kind of the same thing. I work in the corporate world, and the corporate world is filled with greed. I mean, they're always like, don't do this unless you get this. Don't give this unless you get that. And it's kind of something that advertising, things you see on TV all day long, get a better car, buy more of this, do more of that, all the marketing and sales and stuff like that, it continues what you've learned young, to put yourself first, to do more, get more. Whoever has the most toys in the end wins, or whatever. You've heard those sayings like that before. Save for retirement, you always have to have more. You always have to do more, And it goes against what Christianity is about helping others and giving to others and doing things for others. And those of y'all that do, and a lot of y'all in here do that, you know that you get great rewards by helping people. By doing things for people. And those are things that you don't get when you just get more of the material things. I mean, they're nice. I agree. Don't want to say they're not. I don't want to say it's a bad thing to try to do better, but there has to be a good balance there. So, talking about balance, there's many, many ways that, without having to totally put yourself down all the time. You don't want to just beat yourself all the time, but there's a lot of things that you can do to help balance that out. There's community service. There's plenty of opportunities at our local church here, especially now that we're going through such a big transition. There's a lot of opportunities for people that haven't done things at the church to get involved. Student council. Church council is a great thing. Everybody should serve on the church council. You'll be amazed at all the things that it takes to run a church of this size, all the business decisions that have to be made, all the things that have to be repaired. I mean, there's just tons of things that you can do. Sunday school is always looking for extra people to help out, just to be a part of children's lives, and it's a very rewarding thing to teach children about God and about Jesus and to help balance their lives out as well. And then there's things you can do for service, like just greeters, ushers, readers, filling in for pastors. Just different things that you can do that are also very rewarding for you as well. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is heaven is going to be a different place. And it's a place that I don't totally understand. I know it's going to be way different than what we're doing down here. My hope is to be in heaven. I know I'm going to be in heaven, but I don't really know how to describe how different that's going to be as far as what we've lived our lives to do. So I know that there's a great hope for me and for everyone in here. And I think that's just kind of just from reading the gospel lesson. Maybe it's not total doctrine correct, but it's probably close enough. So let's say a prayer. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this congregation and this church and all the people here that are willing to help, and there's so many that do. And Lord, bless them and keep them safe and keep this church strong and help us to get through the transition period. And we thank you for all of the blessings that we have in our lives and all of the wonderful feelings that we get in serving you. In Jesus' name.